Hello there. Welcome to the live demo. It's going to be a fun day. Um, just so everybody knows, this is a little different. This is the second episode that we've done in the new series of live demos. So the way we're working it now is that every other Monday we do a live demo. And in the past, it used to be Doc doing these. And we've changed this up a little bit. So we're bringing some of our moderators, some of our group experts in to do the live demo for you. So you get a different perspective of how the live demo goes. And then on the other week, when the live demo isn't on, Doc is going to be doing what he's an expert at and having a tech talk, and that's going to be on a Zoom session. So if you want to register for that, go to ecamm.com/tech-talk, sign up for that, and you'll get the Zoom link. If you join the Zoom link, you have two things that you have to do. You have to have your mic ready and your camera has to be on. It's an interactive session, so we don't want you just coming in and kind of like sitting there in the dark. We want to be able to see you and interact with you. So those are the two requirements to get to join the Zoom meeting. But those are every other Friday. So if you have any kind of tech questions, that's the perfect place to bring those to. Here we're going to be going through Ecamm, the demo, and all that stuff. So not really going to be going into cameras and gear and all that type of stuff here. So anyway, want to say hello to everybody. Um, Val's in here. I see George is in here. Oh, the family's in here. Hello. So we're going to just kind of play around today. One of the things, oh, and I forgot to post my poll of how new you are. But if you are brand new, just say new in the thing. If you only had Ecamm for less than 3 months, just pop a new in, and we'll kind of see where we go. What I wanted to do today is kind of just take it from the very basic, because I know we've had the challenge going and we've had new people, from that coming in here too. So I'm going to kind of start from square one, very basic, and we're just going to build our way up through the process. I've moved some things around on my screen for so that my windows were bigger and everything for you. So I have some things in some different places. So, we're going to have fun together. Things may go wrong. That's okay. That's what happens. And we work it out. We figure out the right way to fix it and how to deal with it. So we're just going to see where we go from here. So I'm going to go into demo mode right now so that you can see actually what I'm seeing on my screen with all my windows. So when you first get Ecamm and you open it up, you're going to see a bunch of windows on your screen. You don't need, let me just make sure that I'm in demo mode, which I don't think I am. Here we go. Come on, computer. Why aren't you? There's some days you just kind of want to stay in bed. There we go. So now you should be seeing demo mode. Perfect. There we go. You're seeing demo mode. So you're going to see all these different screens on the window and all that stuff. And you really don't need those. So what I'm going to do here just to kind of clean things up is I'm just going to go through and I'm going to close every little window we have open here. So it's not so confusing. You know, there's lots of windows to work with in Ecamm, and you don't really need to see all of them. So basically right now, I just have my main broadcast window, as you can see. This is the main window. This is kind of, we see what's happening in Ecamm. When I hover over this, you're going to see a series of boxes over here on the side. This first one is going to turn on my camera switcher. So when I bring this in, now you see my camera down here on the side. You know, if I have, these are my overlays. So the second one is my overlay box, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. This one is my sound panel. This is probably one of the most important things that you can have open. I always have that one open. This one is now my camera effects box that I popped in over here. This is what I'm going to use to control my my cameras and things like that. I'm also, the other thing that you can do is up along the top, there's overlays and things in here. So you have windows. So I can go in here and I can bring up my scenes. So these are some of the basic windows that you want to go. So I want to kind of explain the other end of kind of how Ecamm is set up. So we have something called profiles, we have something called scenes, we have something called overlays, and we have sounds. We can have sound effects. We can have um, it could be music playing. It could be sound effect sounds. One of the sounds could be, I could trigger applause or something like. So you can have different types of sounds. So the way to look at this is a profile is like a neighborhood. So if I go over here to my profile screen, you're going to see I can't really trigger it. You're going to see it kind of shaded in here. Oh, that's really so you're going to see all these different items grayed out. I can't change profiles when I'm live, but these are all different shows and different things that I am doing. So these are all collected in my profiles window. So profiles are kind of like, think of it as a neighborhood. You have the town you live in, you have your neighborhood, you have all these houses and all this stuff in your neighborhood. So now when you get to each individual's profile is like a house, and we use those to represent the different shows that we do. So you create a profile, and now you've got this empty, just like a house when you first move into it, it's empty. And now you're going to start decorating it. So now we're going to add scenes to it. Scenes are like the different rooms in the house. So you've got your living room, you've got a bedroom, you've got the kitchen, all those different rooms. Those are what we refer to as scenes. This is a scene that I am in now. In those scenes, you're going to add overlays. So it's just like in your room in the house, you're going to add furnishings. You may paint the walls, you may add a background. So you've painted the walls a specific color for that room. And maybe you want to have a chair. You're going to interview somebody. You're going to have guests in. So you're going to have cameras set up for the guests that you're going to bring onto your show. Maybe you're going to show a video. So you've got another camera video, or maybe you're sharing a screen of a YouTube video or something like that's kind of like the TV that you're putting in the room. And then you may have other little things that you've added in, lower thirds with the person's name, different things like that. Those are kind of like the other fixtures and furnishings that you add into the room. But when I leave that room and go to the next room, the next scene, it's going to be blank. And I'm going to create something totally different for that room or that scene. So each scene is individual. And I can turn on my mic so that you can hear me when I talk in that room, or I may not want you to hear me and just, have it a quiet room or something like that, or be showing a video and I don't want you hearing me when I do that. So you can control your mics, your sounds, all that stuff as you move through your different scenes. So we're going to I've got very little scenes set up here today. I basically did my intro scene. I did a host scene. So say I want to fluff this up a little bit. I kind of want to make this a little bit extra and kind of rather than just me on a full screen where I can actually bring in, let me bring up my comment things here, a window where I can go, um, I can add comments in. I'll show you how I can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to and create a new scene. So I'm going to go over to my scenes panel over here, and I'm going to scroll down here to this little plus bar, and I'm going to hit plus. Actually, I'm going to back up one thing. One thing that I want you to do when you first start Ecamm is down here in the bottom, there's a gear. In this gear, it's going to open up this window and it's going to have your preferences in it. If you go over here to video, up here under default source mode, you're going to see three options: blank, camera, or screen share. It defaults to camera. So what that means is when you create a new scene, it's going to look just like this one. It's going to have my camera thrown on the screen, and then I have to go from there. What I like to do is I like to work with a blank slate. So now if I change that to blank, close that out. Now when I go over here and I add a new scene, now you're going to see that it's a blank picture. There's nothing in this window. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding my furnishings to my house. So I can have a background that I can bring in. I've actually got one already laid in here. So I can drag this over into my scene, and now I have a background, sort of. Now, this is interesting. Why are you? It's not locked. Okay. If you make a mistake, you can't do something. Command Shift. This is wild. Okay. We're going to get rid of you. If you want to get rid of a scene, highlight it, hit the trash can, delete. Okay. So I'm going to create another scene here. Why are you? Okay. Like I said, fun things happen. I don't know why this is. Okay. To make this simple, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go over and grab something from my go. There. That's what I wanted. Ecamm works on drag and drop, so you can drag anything in from another, from a folder, anything like that. Copy it in, drag it in, bring it into the background. So what you see over here in the overlays panel, get out of here, is you're going to see three different sections in here. You're going to see show in all scenes, show in current scenes, and show in background. In this particular case, this is showing up in show in current scenes. So if I was to create, I'm just going to zoom out here. I'm going to create a new scene. It's blank. So you see there's nothing in here. I'm going to delete this for a second. Delete that. I'm going to take this item here. I'm going to drag it down here into my show in backgrounds. So now when I create another new scene, I've created a new scene here. Now you see that that background is here. You can see over here in this section, when I hit the plus key, you're going to see another new scene. It looks the same. So if it's show in background, that's going to be duplicated in every new scene that you create. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to get rid of these two since I don't need these. As you create scenes too, the other thing that is extremely important is you name stuff, because as you see, every time I add something, it's called new scene, new scene, new scene. After you've done a few of these, it starts getting confusing. It's like, what is that scene? What is this? So you want to double click on these and then give it a name. You want to call it whatever it is. So this is basically going to be me and comments. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my basic scene set up. I'm going to go down here to my cameras. It looks like a little camera. I'm going to click that, and now it's going to add a camera overlay. So this is based, I can change this. I can click on this arrow. I can change it from a circle to a squircle. I can add this in like this. I can make it bigger. Also, I can click on that. I can come in here. I can add a border around it. I can change the quarter radius. I can make it square. I can, squirt around. The squircle kind of has its standard shapes and stuff, but I can tweak around with those if I want to change things a little bit. I can, like I said, I can change my border width. I can make it small. If I want to change the color, I can click up here on this box, the color box, and then it's going to open up a color picker window. And then based, on the first one, I can get my color wheel. The second one over, I have RGB sliders, and I can also put my hex code in here if I wanted. In this one, I have pre-assigned uh, items that I have created, color choices, color panes. And so all I have to do down here, if I want, is just click on, a different color. And now it's blue. I can change it to kind of, different colors, different phases. If I really want to get creative, I can click on the little eyedropper here, and then I can go over here and I can roam around my screen and find a color that I want in the background and grab that. And now it's changed to that color. So you have choices with what you want to do and how you want to. Oop. The other thing you want to do is lock your screen. Um, so you have choices of what you can do, with colors and borders and things like that. Now, for comments, what I can do is I can, you see my comment window open here, and that gets opened by the little bubble thing over here on the side. So I can go down here and I can click on uh, a comment, and now it will add it to the screen. It's going to add it in the format that I last used. But if I don't want that format, again, I can come in here and I can click on the pencil. There's different ways. There's dynamic, which means it changes around. I can turn it into a shrinking text block. Oops. And it's going to turn off after X number of seconds as I have it set up. So if I want to bring it back, I just click this. If you want to stop that from happening, you can temporarily go in here and okay, where did it go? Down here at the bottom where it says automatically hide comments after a period of time, just turn that off while you're tinkering around. So now I can bring this again, drag and drop, resizing. I can come here. I can open this up to something like this. I can make it, a window now. Uh, I can lay it over here if I want to play with sizes and get it correct. I can expand it over to the right size and then now just drag it over. If I was going to have two guests on, I could say I like this scene, I like the layout of it, but now I want to create a scene where I have two, I'm going to have a guest come in. So what I can do is, hi, Doc. Yes, you can ban me. Um, you come back over to this scene and you're going to come down here to this icon down here at the bottom with the two squares. That's a duplicate. I can click on that. Now I have a new scene created, and it does have the comments. It's just that it's hidden for the moment. But what I can do, because it's a new scene and I don't have the comment turned on, now what I can do is, like I said, I want to make this setup for two with an extra guest. So I'm going to say me and guest and comment. So now I'm going to start working with this scene. So basically, I can't bring another guest in here because my head's too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down, and holding the Option key, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag this down. Now you see the lines that showed up on the screen? That shows that I have it centered, and I can kind of gauge it to where I want it to be. So now I have two pictures. So now I can go into this, click on my little pencil thing, come up here to my video source, and I can say, I want this to be guest two. So now I have a placeholder for the second guest. So now I have a screen where I have myself, I have a guest if I want to bring guests in, and I have my comment window. And again, if I want the comments to go back to hiding, I can come in here, click this automatic hide. This is your Ecamm preference. Change it to however many seconds you want the comment to be on the screen, and then it will go away. So again, this is a scene. So this scene is completely different from this scene. If I wanted to change this background on this scene, I could turn this background off. I could put a different background in. I could take the backgrounds away. I can do things completely separately. If I wanted to add a lower third, I wanted you to know who I was. Now I come over here to my overlays panel. I'm going to click on the T, and now I have a text block. So now I can say Paul Duncan. And if I wanted to, so now I can bring this in and I can add this in. Again, if I wanted to have a background, I can go in here. I can say edit the text. I can say edit a background. and I can change the background color. And again, if I wanted to pick something out of my, Doc is going to scream because this is going to be a horrible looking thing. But oops, sorry, wrong thing. I did the border. Edit background. My opacity. Oh, I love it when things don't work the way you want it to work. Doc is sitting here laughing at me, going, "You crazy idiot." Color. Ah, I'm doing the wrong one. Duh. You would think I knew how to do this. Okay, there we go. Now I've added color. So now you see I have a color background in here. I can go in here and I can even change the text. So I could come in here, I could bold my first name. So I go up here to fonts and I find bold. I could even, if I want to, hit shift return and say host. I can change the alignment. I can shrink it down and add it in here. And if I want it centered, I move it around. It will now tell me it's over to the center. I can move it to the side. I can bring it down here like this. So it's over. You can do different things with it. You can add borders around it, things like that. So there's lots of different things. Anybody got any questions of what I covered so far? I know we kind of bounced a little bit, but is this making sense? Like I said, you have any questions? If you have a question, put a Q colon in front of it like we always do. That helps me kind of find your questions and so that I can see I can pull them out easily and quickly. But like I said, if you have questions, uh, I can find them and jump in here and answer any questions for you. Like I said, I'm just kind of taking this, step by step, kind of going from basics and doing simple stuff so that you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. So again, any questions, pop them into chat. Uh, the other thing that you can do is you can share, um, George, sorry, I must hit the question. Let me find George's question. Let's see. Sorry. Somebody just told me that George asked a question. So one of the questions was asked about blank text and a scrolling ticker. So I'll show you how to do a scrolling ticker. What you can do for a scrolling ticker is it's basically a text box. It's basically text. But what you want to do up here is you want to go down here to scrolling ticker. And so you can say this, oops, this is a scrolling ticker. You can type anything here, including emoji. So if you wanted to add emoji in here, you can pop an emoji in. And then when you add it, this now starts scrolling across the screen. Again, you have all your features. You can change the font, you can change the colors, you can do what you want. The other thing that you can do up here is you have this rabbit. You can make it go really, really fast, or you can make it go really slow. I keep moving my boxes around. So what George is asking is, can you cut off the edges of um, the scrolling ticker so that it's not starting right at the edge and things like that. Not technically, there's nothing in the scrolling ticker to be able to do that. But what you can do is you can create, sorry, you can get, you can use shapes to kind of do that. So down here in this corner, you have if I show you down here in this overlays panel, you have something that says new shape overlay. So what you can do here is you can click on that new shape overlay, and now you've got a shape in here. So what I can do with this is I can go here to this. I can change it to a rectangle like it is. Let's make it a square. I get rid of my border widths. I get rid of the quarter radiuses. So now I have a square box. And I want this to be the same color as my background. So I'm going to click on the square color. I'm going to go down to my color pencil, and I'm just going to click on this background. So now I have a square box that's the same size. So I'm going to get rid of all that. So now I have my little box. So I can take this box and I can make this box the same size as my scrolling ticker. And now I can drag this over to the edge. I have a, if I was smart, I would I would have added the border in it and made this really simple, but let's make things complicated. So now I have this box in here. I want to nudge it around. So I'm going to hit Command and my arrow keys, and now I can start. Whoops, I just went to the next thing. So I'm just hitting the arrow keys and moving this box over. So now I've got the box on the side. So I've got that hidden. So now when you look at it, it's kind of hidden. And then I can, if I don't quit, I can hit my Option key, and now I can make another one, and I can drag that over to the other side of the screen and nudge it in. This isn't perfect. I'd play around it, get all the pieces in, but that's how you can create what looks like a block on both ends of um, your scrolling ticker, just by adding um, a shape to kind of cover things up. Does that help, John, or help, George? Okay, the void. The blank void, now that I say the blank void is actually it's based on how long your text is. If you didn't want that blank void, what you could do is you could repeat the text that you want scrolling across, so you don't see the blanks like that. So if I went back into my ticker, clicked on, I'll double click on it to make it easier. I do my edit text. I can take this, I can do a copy, I can do a paste it in again. And now when it comes across, you're going to see it come across, and then it's going to repeat again. And you may have to do this a couple times, but that will get rid of, if you fill it up, that will get rid of the blank space that has to move across before it starts again. So see, now I'm getting this type of thing. So you can back it up with multiple things. You could repeat the same thing, but that's how you get rid of that voided space moving across when things show up. So hopefully that helps. Any other questions? Any other stuff you want to kind of go through? If you don't like, I want to get rid of this actually smart thing to do here is if I take, we'll show you this. These are all three independent things right now. They're all separate. If I move it, it's going to move everything. One of the things I can do is I can create a folder. I created this folder here. I can move this folder up above this. And now I can move all these pieces. Now see how they're offsetted in here? So now I have everything in a folder. I can lock these so that I can't make any changes to it. But up here at the very top, you'll see what looks like a little thing, a little chain link. And it says, when I hover it, it says link overlay group. If I click that, now when I come back into this and I move this, oops, I moved, oh, why are you doing this to me today? Technically, I can turn it off. If I hit this little eyeball, it goes away. If I turn the eyeball back on, it comes back in. Is it because I locked these? Yeah, it's because I locked the components. I can move this around now, and it all moves as a group. One of the things to keep in mind, if you have the ability to lock the different elements of that group so that you can't change it, but when you do that, it's going to lock it to the screen. It's not going to move. So keep that in mind. But group things together. Folders are very important to use, like with um, my camera overlay here. Let me get rid of this for a second, and I'll show you another cool feature of I can take a folder like we did in the last time. I can move this up above my name. Where did it go? Folder, create a folder. Okay, so I can bring my camera underneath there. So now that's offset, that's part of the folder, and I can bring my lower third in. Now, as you notice right now, my lower third is underneath my camera. We work in layers, just like a lot of your design applications. So you want to drag the name up above. Now the name is up in here. It's higher up. So now when I link this together, now I can move my entire camera all over the place and it's connected. If I wanted to create another person, a duplicate of this, again, option key and then drag. And now I have two of these. Now I can go into this. As you can see over here, it duplicated it. So I can create this one. I can call this Paul. This second one, I can double click it and I can call it guest. And now I can go in here, I can tweak the text. I could go into this and I could say, uh, change this to doc. So now I have it in here. I have a new one. So I can go in here. It's changed the name here. So you can see this here and you can see me. You know, I can move these around if I wanted me to be above doc. It doesn't make any difference because it's not changing anything in the thing. But again, if I wanted doc to go away, all I have to do is click on this eyeball because I have everything linked together. It goes away. If I want to bring them back in, I can just click this. And again, I would assign this to the camera that I had assigned to Doc. In this case, you know, we're going to make Doc guest 3. So now I have a placeholder for guest 3. Hopefully that makes sense. Any other questions? Anything you want to know? Anything you want to find out about? The other thing that we can do is we can create another scene, and we're going to call this overlay. We're going to share screen. Like I said, it doesn't, um, it when you create scenes, name them. You'll thank yourself down the road. Because I have, when I first started out, I was making scenes. I had all these overlays that were all disconnected, and suddenly I had all this mess that I was unable to figure out and make sense of. So in this case, I'm going to do a share screen. So one of the things I want to do in here is to I want to add a camera of me so that I'm always in the picture. So I want to take this down and say, in this case, I'm going to make this a circle. So I'm going to turn me into a little circle. I'm going to put me up in the upper corner and I'm going to shrink me down. Now I want to bring in a share screen. So again, in your overlays panel, you have what looks like a little monitor. You want to click on that. Now you have a share screen. in the window. So what I'm basically doing now is I'm sharing one of my Chrome tabs. To make this easier, I can go up here, click on the pencil, go up to where it says Show, come down to where it says Google Chrome, and I can click on this one. So now, oops, wrong Google, the hotkeys. So now I have a window that is my browser window from that's on another monitor. So now I have all this space in here too that I really don't want. So again, as you notice, when I roll over the edge, it turns into a double arrow. If I hold the Option key down and then do this, now the sides are going to move. If I hold Option, if I was just to hold Option and grab this without it being changed to an arrow, you see the hand? Now I'm duplicating the image, and that's not what I want. I don't want to have two of these. So again, to get rid of it, turning it off, I could turn it off like this, but it's not gone away. It's still in that scene. So I want to highlight it and click on the garbage can. So now what I can do is hold the Option key down, and I can slide the edges over, and I can crop this down so it's the way that I want it. So I can get rid of all the tabs at the top. I can get rid of all the tabs at the bottom. If I don't want the rounded corners, again, I can change my quarter radius and get rid of it completely. I can get rid of the border that I have around it, so it's just the window, bring it back, and then I can grab the corners, and now I can resize it and make it the size that I want. So now I can go over to my browser window and I can scroll, and you're seeing what I'm seeing from over here. So you can share YouTube, you can share pages, the concept is the same for whatever you want to share. You could share uh, a Word document, you could share a PowerPoint presentation, pages, anything like that you can share and add that into your scene. And you can do these very quickly on the fly. You can make changes. There's another little feature in here called preview mode. And I'm going to show you this, but I'm going to caution you about using this. When you click on preview mode, it basically is going to change my screen like you see now. If I wasn't in demo mode and you were just seeing my broadcast, I could be making changes here and you wouldn't see any of this. So I've duplicated me and all this stuff. I'm going to go out of demo mode and show you. Now you're back to the actual broadcast. This is what the people are seeing. So as you saw, I'm in preview mode. I'm making changes to my scene. I'm adding stuff, whatnot. It's not going to be seen until I actually come back into it. And down here, I'll come back into demo mode for a second. Down here at the bottom, it says go back to live demo mode or publish. If I publish, that is going to now be sent out to the stream. So you're going to see, the people that are watching. If you look down there in that bottom corner down here, this little window, this is what everybody is seeing. So as you can see, they're not seeing the changes that I've made over here. If I hit publish, now that change is being broadcast out. So I've been able to, in the background, make changes, make corrections to my scene. Maybe I needed to fix somebody's name or I'm bringing a guest in and I don't have everything set up. So I'm talking, doing something, maybe showing a video, and I'm in the back end making these quiet little changes before the audience sees it. And then I can bring it in and then it looks like, I had everything planned out. The other thing to keep in mind is up here, there's this little box that says preview mode. And you also see down here in the corner, it says it will show you back to live mode. We all have done this where we have forgotten to get out of this and we've changed. If I change scenes, again, keep an eye on this window down here. I can go to a different scene. I can come back to me where it's my full headshot. You see this down here? The broadcast isn't seen. If I go out of live demo mode, you're not seeing the fact that I've changed scenes. I've done something different. I've gone to a different scene. So you want to make sure, watch out for this yellow box, but you want to make sure that you say back to live mode. and then that will take it back to what the normal broadcast is and everything, and then you can change, because if you do anything without making that change, it's not going to be seen by your audience. And we've all done that. So anybody else have any questions? Anything else? Let's see. Let me look through questions, see if I see anything. Don't see anything. So we've talked about camera overlays. We've done a screen share. We've talked about guests. You know, you if you have a pro plan, if you're on the pro plan, you have the ability to bring interview guests in. And this double little headed thing here, if you click on it, it's now going to open an interview panel. And in here, you can invite people. It's going to give you a link. You're not seeing it because when you're actually going live, it hides the link to join. But if I was to click it, it would show. You can go in also and you can create multiple scenes. So if you have multiple shows, you can set up links for each different show, and each interview link will have a different look to it. So you can add things that, your logos, your, different icons. You can add comments. You can set it up differently. If I go into one of the other ones that I do, uh, let's see, the hangout that I do with Val, when I look at this, now I have a different thing. The graphic that people see when I send the link, different things like that. So you can create different interview modes for different groups. And then all you have to do is when you do these, then you just have to select the right, um, the appropriate group that you're, which link and what that you want to do, uh, when you send it out. And then people can join yours and you can add them um, into the stream. The other thing, these little boxes on the side that kind of come away, like if you're working on something. When I have my mouse over here, they show up. When I take my mouse away, they disappear. But I may want to do a screenshot. I may want to do something, or I'm designing something, and these things are in my way. What you can do is if you hit Command, and we always refer to it as Command tilde, but it's actually like a grave mark, or it's up in the upper right hand corner. It's basically below the tilde mark. If you click that, those will go away, and now they've disappeared, and so now they're hidden, and you don't have to look at them again. To get them back, you just hit um, Command tilde again. And like I said, we say tilde, but it's not tilde, because if it really was tilde, it would be Command Shift tilde. But it's just an easy way of identifying that the key that's on. And so that helps it that go away. If you wanted to do a screenshot or something like that of your image, and or something, and you don't want those things on there, that's a great way to get rid of them. Or if I was doing the demo here and I didn't want you to see these, I wanted to get these out of the way, I can make those disappear. So speaking of things like that, if I go back to um, my window, so, sorry, I've missed. Here we go. Um, I think I missed. There we go. Raven's question. When using the comment box, is there a way to have the font size of the comments automatically adjust based on how many letters? Yes, sort of. What you can do is you can create the text box to shrink, so, or make it dynamic. So now the box it's, let me bring you back in here. So depending on how I do this, I now have a smaller box. If I go to a very short comment, like I bring up Doc's comment, now you see that the box is smaller. It's changing based upon the comment that I'm putting on the screen. If I go to something that's really long, you know, it grows, it gets bigger. So you can do stuff like that. For me, I kind of like having, depending on the scene that I'm in, but I kind of like having a text box that is, I can shrink it, but I have a text box that is of a generic size taking up the window so that when I do bring comments in, it kind of fits to a uh, specific slide and the comments move around and change. You can also like the icon that's showing up here of the person, you could make it big, you could make it small, you could make it really small. So you can change that too just by moving the slider up here in the corner next to them. Does that help? So the one thing that I was going to show you is if I get back to get rid of this. Uh, in Ecamm, we have, if you go to support.ecam.com, that is our support library. So let me go in here, get rid of all this. This is an excellent place to go looking for. If you're stuck, troubled, got questions, if you go to support.ecam, this gives you a list of all of our support articles. So say you're looking for something regarding hotkeys. You want to know about all the shortcuts that are in Ecamm. You can type in the word hotkeys, hit return, and now you'll see an option here for hotkeys. This is where I was. And now you will see all of the shortcuts in Ecamm based on all the different scenes. So this is a great, as I die here, this is a great place to go looking for, my voice is going to change. Oh, this is going to be fun. Uh, for all the different shortcuts, different command keys that you can use to do different things, like mute a microphone, Shift Command M will mute the mic. Yeah, right. Doc, fly over here and help me, Heimlich or something. Um, you know, the the Windows menus, how you can bring up your scenes window, commands, slate without having to go to using the icons on the side or going up to the Windows like the Windows menu and trying to find things. All of the shortcuts are in here, and then as we make changes to Ecamm, we update these with the most recent icons. But you'll find all the shortcuts in here, which is really great. Another thing that's really cool is if you go learn.ecamm.com, those of you that like an instruction manual or want to dig deep in on stuff, this has everything about Ecamm in it. It has, if you want to know about camera mode, you can click on camera mode. It's going to tell you all the different things of camera mode. Whoops. Lock scenes. This is another reason why you want to lock your scenes so that when you inadvertently scroll around with a crazy mouse, that it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to go over here and lock this. So now nothing's going to move. Um, this has everything about it. If you want to know about camera effects, you can come down here to camera effects and it will talk about all the camera effect features and how that works. This little window over here called camera effects. Everything's laid out in this. If you want to create a broadcast, you want to go live, click on create broadcast. It's going to walk you through, show you all the boxes, how everything works, how to do everything. So if you want to go streaming, it talks about streaming. We have videos that links to it. Again, with stuff in here, how to do things, how to go early, how to set up your broadcast, all that type of stuff. Everything is in here. Same thing about adjusting sound panels. That's all in here. So learn.ecamm.com is your key to, if you like user manuals or if you have questions and you want to dig deeper on stuff, it's all in here. The other thing too is push buttons. Go through all those menus at the top of the screen. Click on everything. See what it does. You can't break anything. Worst case is you wipe out the profile. You come into your profile menu, you create a new profile, and you just start from a blank slate again. Check out what all of the, if I go back in here, look at these preferences. Walk through the preferences, see what happens. play out sounds. That turns it off. So if I get sounds in the background on my computer, you're not going to hear those things. You know, snapping things. You can have things snap. You can make them snicky. You can have no when you're moving things around and they lock around. This is the thing with returning to live mode when there's, like we were in preview mode. What do you want to have happen when you return to live mode? If you've got unpublished changes, do you want it to say, hey, you've got changes. Do you want me to publish these? You just want to publish them, or do you just want to revert back to what you did previously because you didn't hit stuff? Information about your stream size, your durations. When you're recording, you can have isolated tracks. You can record not only what's the broad is doing on the broadcast, but what you see in your different cameras that you bring in your interview guests. You know, you can also, which I do, when I end a recording, I have this set up down here where it says record only prompts for the name. It will open up a window and it will ask me to name that recording when I'm done. So I can give it something that I will recognize rather than the timestamp information that it is. But you can decide, I don't ever want that. I only want that to happen when I want to do it when the recording starts or when the recording ends. When you click to go to record, you can have a countdown show up on your screen that will count down before the camera starts actually recording. You can set up your destinations, places that you stream to, your video qualities, what you want to have, like we did, blank screens. How do you want it to act when you finish? You want it to fade out when you transition. How do you want it to? There's all kinds of transitions in here. Most of us use cross dissolve. If you have a laptop and you don't ever want to see the laptop camera show up, you can disable the built-in camera. I'm on a studio. It doesn't have a built-in camera. I really don't have to worry about that. But go through here, look at all this, things about your sounds. If you're interviewing, things about the interview. This one is an important one. If you bring interview guests in, what do you want them to see? Do you want them just to see you all the time? Or do you want them to see what's happening in the broadcast? You know, most of us click this because that way the guests can see what's going on and don't have to just look at your smiling face constantly all the time. Things about screen sharing, shortcuts. These are OS shortcuts that you can set up. Uh, the whole Zoom function, we've added Zoom. Zoom is now built into Ecamm, so you can use Zoom from within Ecamm. These are some features that relate to Zoom. Again, those are all listed in the user guide, but I highly recommend just going through all these things and seeing what they do, try stuff out, push buttons, bring things in, test it, you know, play around with it, get used to it, find out what the capabilities of Ecamm are. Let's see. Any other questions here? Because we're getting close to the end of the stream. I know we've kind of bounced around. I wanted to kind of keep this somewhat basic because we've had a lot of new people, getting exposed to Ecamm and kind of just wanted to give them, some simple stuff. If anybody has anything that you want me to show that you've had questions about, feel free to um, to ask away. I'll throw something together. But it's really easy, as you saw, to build scenes, to create stuff on the fly, and just go with it. One thing that I would highly recommend if you're working on a show, you've created something, and then you've decided to go in and you want to start making some little tweaks to stuff. If you go up to the profile menu and you see an option here that says export profile, take your profile, copy this, and let's call this, you can create a name. I can say original, or I could put today's date in here, 7/19, something that's going to identify this to me. So now I have a copy of my entire profile. When you export a profile, it's going to copy everything except for videos and fonts. So if there's any special fonts, if you were going to put this over on another computer or something, you want to also be sure to copy any videos that you've used and any fonts that you've used, in the instruction. The tail that you see in the back is Maestro. He makes an appearance around this time because it's getting close to his lunchtime. So he wants to remind me that it's lunchtime. Anyway, those things aren't included. So you want to make sure that you copy those things out. but all the music, all the other stuff is included in that. So you can take a profile from one machine, export it, take that profile, drag it over to another machine, copy it to another machine, and double click on it and open. If Ecam's on it, it's going to open up. It's going to have those profiles. The same thing with your scenes. If I grab a scene here, I want to have, say, I want to use this on another scene or another show, or I just kind of want to tuck this away someplace, I can drag that scene to my desktop. And now, if I double click it, I can go in here. I can come in here. I can delete me. So I could take this scene and wipe it off the face of the earth. It might mute my mic. I'll be right back. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this scene. I'm going to go over to um, my desktop. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to come back in. So I'm going to delete me. So I basically just drug this back in, and now I have the scene back in my machine. So you can do stuff like that. So if you're working on a particular scene, make a copy of it, drag it to your desktop, drag it from your scenes panel to your desktop. Now you can go in, you can tweak on it, make changes. If you screw it up, which we've all done, you don't have to start from square one. You can start back at that point that it was before you started making those changes. So it makes it really easy to recover from stuff. But again, this is a Mac. Ecamm follows Mac rules. Drag and drop. Everything is drag and drop. I can grab a video, something. I can drag a video off. Let's see if I've got something. I can drag a video from my computer and I can bring it in to, they're hiding. I've organized them so well, I can't find them anymore. Um, so I can drag a video like this in if unless you've locked your scene. Um, it's behind me. I have a camera in there. You can drag. Sorry, this isn't cooperating today, but you can drag things into your scenes, pictures. Okay, here's one. So I can drag a video in, drop it in, and it will play. You know, if it is a video with sound and you drag it in, you're going to get an option of, you know, do you want to play this with sound? It will take up the full screen. It become, as big as the screen. So in a case like that, if you don't need the sound, like I didn't need the sound there, I can just drag it in, say no sound, and then I have the ability to move it around. If you need the sound and everything else, like a video clip or something like that, you want to turn it into a WebM file. And we do have a program for making WebMs called Shutter Encoder is what we recommend, but there's lots of different ones out there. But you want to turn it into a WebM file, then bring it in. Now you have the ability to shrink it, make it, control the size of it and all that type of stuff. And it's the same way with cameras. If I created a new scene and I wanted to bring my camera in, I can go down here to my camera switcher and all I have to do is drag it in and it's in the scene. I've added it in. Now, when I add it, it's going to come in at the same way the last time I used it. So if I don't want this size, I can, oops, don't make me disappear completely. Drag it in. I can click on the pencil. I can make me come down to custom. And now I can make it the size that I want because custom allows me to increase things. So now I'm back to full screen again. And now you're seeing out of my cone of cleanliness. You're seeing everything more than I want you to see. But that's kind of a roundabout of, let's see, how do you take the picture and use as your thumbnail? Okay, there is an option in Ecamm to take a screenshot. So what you want to do before you do this is you want to do the command tilde so that you get rid of all of your um, the stuff on the screen that you don't want to see. And I believe I have a button that does it. So hang on a second here. I have it on my screenshot. So it's Shift Command G. So if I click Shift Command G, it is going to, oops, you have to have Ecamm selected to make that work. Shift Command G. It's going to take a screenshot of what I have, and it's going to put that screenshot in my recordings folder. So it's going to copy, when it takes the screenshots, it's going to put it into my recordings folder. Now, one of the things that I believe, because I am live, it's not going to work. Let me check just to make sure that I'm not speaking out of the side of my mouth here. Yeah, because I'm live, it's the screenshot. I don't believe the screenshot works. Doc, can you answer that? Because it didn't work for me when I just did this. Um, but generally, if you hit Shift Command G, it's going to take a screenshot of what you see on this screen, on your broadcast screen, and then it's going to copy it in um, your Ecamm folder, so your recordings folder. So, wherever that is, if you go up to your recordings screen up here, you can come down here to show recordings. That's going to open up a screen and it's going to show you. Um, so let's see, here's a recording that I'll just drag it into the screen. So this is a screenshot that I did from within Ecamm. Uh, I was cornering around and sending something to somebody. So like I said, Shift Command G will take a screenshot of whatever you see. So the key thing too is you want to get rid of the interface, all these things around the edge, because if I was to do a screenshot while these were showing, they would actually be part of my screenshot. So, oh, there we go. I did get it to work. See down there at the corner, it says photo saved. So now if I go over to my photos, uh, my photos window, this is the photo that I just took. So it will pop up. So Shift Command G is your friend. It's great. I have it set up on a Stream Deck as a multifunction key. And so the way I have it set up is the first part of the multifunction is it triggers a 3-second delay. It's 3,000 milliseconds. And then the second step of that is the actual hotkeys to do the screenshot. So when I want to take a screenshot, I hit the button on my screen or my Stream Deck. It starts a countdown, so I know I have 3 seconds to focus my attention, on my camera and get into the position that I want, and then it will take the picture for me, and then it puts it into the folder. So if you have a Stream Deck, uh, that's a cool feature that you can add up. Again, like I said, it's a multifunction key. First one is a second delay, and you can set that for whatever you want. I chose 3 seconds. And then the second step of that multifunction key is the actual hotkey combination to take the screenshot. Any other questions? Because we're up against the hour. Hopefully this has been helpful. I know it's been kind of scattered a little bit. Uh, this has been a really interesting week because we've had all kinds of crazy tech stuff going on in the background, and crazy stuff is happening. Yes, John just mentioned about a Stream Deck pedal. You can do that with the Stream Deck pedal too. If you have a Stream Deck pedal and like you're wanting to do a bunch of like thumbnail headshots for different poses, different crazy things, stuff like that, that is a great place to put it. Set it up on your Stream Deck pedal, hit the button, and then you can just repeatedly do pictures. Or if you're in the middle of the stream and you suddenly want to grab something, you can have it set up that way. You don't have to use your hands, you can use your feet. to do the thing. So um, it's no issue. Again, hide the. I've hidden my thing. I want to do a screenshot. I've hit the button. It's doing the countdown, and it's taken the picture. So you can do things like that. Save pictures. It's really cool. It's a hidden gem that we added not too long ago, and a lot of people don't know about it. And people are trying to take screenshots, and they're trying to do the whole screenshot, drag the screen thing. This is much simpler. Anyway, um, let's see. I finally looked in the Ecamm recording folder. Probably a crazy question, but do I need all those SRT files saved with each? Not necessarily. If you don't need them, you can turn them off. The other thing that you can do is, if you don't need them, is in your preferences under audio, you can go in and you can turn things off that you are recordings. You can go in and you can turn things off that you don't want to have recorded. So if you don't want all your cameras recorded, uncheck those things. You don't need those. All these things take up extra space. If you don't want to record the broadcast when you're live, turn that off too, and you won't record your broadcast. You know, so uncheck the things that you don't need, because every time you do a stream or you record, it's going to record all these different files, and you either have to go in afterwards and clean them up, or you're going to start using disk space on your computer. And so, get rid of the stuff that you don't need. Any other questions while we're in here? Yeah, Tech in the City made it. Yeah, it was not a good night um, for the Windows side of it. Went to watch the news late last night, and in our area anyway, they basically came on briefly and basically said we're unable to do to provide the news tonight. They couldn't get stuff to work. One of the other stations here, I think it was the ABC station, they actually gave up here in San Francisco, and they were posting. They sent everybody. They were running the feed from Los Angeles for the evening news. It was crazy. So, yes, be thankful we have a Mac. Anybody else got any questions? Not? We're going to kind of tie this up. So, hopefully, this has been helpful. Thanks, everybody, for joining. As I said, every other Friday, we'll do this again. We'll have a different host doing it. And then on the opposite week, like this next Friday, Doc will be doing a Zoom session called Tech Talk. If you want to sign up, it's ecamm.com/tech-talk. Register for that, and you'll get an email with the Zoom link on the Friday of it. You can join in. Again, have your camera ready, have your mic ready. We want you to be ready to participate and uh, be engaged in that. It's not just kind of sitting around and you know listening in. It's a very interactive. Ask your questions and have fun. So anyway, again, want to thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.